Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for the Probiotics, skincare, treatment serums, and retinols. We're going to take a little bit deep dive into what retinol is, and then some of the specialty ingredients like our smart peptides and probiotics themselves, as we talk about treatment serums that target specific skin conditions, as well as the benefits of adding retinol to some of your skincare regimens. So I just want to, before we get started, make sure that everybody can hear me. If you could raise your hand, or if you could just send a little chat in the question and answer box, that would be great, so that I know everyone can hear me and see my screen. And we're going to get started in just 1 second. Okay, so we're going to get started here today. And again, thank you for joining us. My name is Dawn Clifford, and I am the Director of Global Education for Probiotics Skincare. Just to give you a little information about myself, I've been in the industry for 32 years, almost 33 years. And I've done a little bit of everything, owned my own business, worked for plastic surgeons, dermatologists, and I've worked for some of the biggest skincare companies in the world. And I came to Probiotics just about a year ago, and it's a smaller company than what I've worked for in the past, but I really was very intrigued by the products, by their formulations, and really just the integrity of this company. It's absolutely amazing. And truly, the products do exactly what they say they're going to do, and the ingredients are definitely just beyond anything that I've worked with in the past. So I hope to fill you in a little bit on some of that today, and I really look forward to any questions that you might have. You can send them through the question and answer box. I will address them all at the end so that I'm not stopping in the middle of the presentation, as we are recording today. And here we go. So I just want to tell you a little bit about our philosophy before we begin. And Probiotics truly is the pioneer in probiotic skincare. The company itself has been around for about 8 years. And when we first started out, we had 4 products that had probiotics in it. And now every single solitary one of our products, which is 27 different SKUs, not including the professional treatments, have probiotics. And we also have many that have prebiotics in them too. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. I think we're having a little bit of a lag on the video. Hopefully you guys can all see it. But really, Probiotics focuses on reducing inflammation and rebalancing the skin's ability to heal itself. And that gives you beautiful skin from the inside out. So a lot of the probiotic and prebiotic philosophies that are used for gut health and internal health really kind of roll over, if you will, to topical use. And we'll talk about that today as well. So I thought I would start off with talking about retinoids, what they are, talk about products that we have that include retinols, and how they work on the skin and the benefits of retinols. If you joined us today for Instagram Live or Facebook Live, we did 2 live chats today, which we've been doing weekly, answering questions from people. We talked a lot about ingredients, and the #1 ingredient that I would say as a professional with a long career in this industry is, if there was one ingredient that you would recommend for everybody, or that is probably the most beneficial ingredient out there, I would definitely say it was retinol. Not everyone can use it all the time, and there are different strengths, and I think you need to know what your skin can tolerate, but it does so many things and addresses so many conditions. So again, we're going to discuss this. So what are retinoids? Retinoids are a group of vitamin A derivatives. So it is derived from vitamin A, and they all work similarly, excuse me, in the skin to boost cell turnover and improve skin tone and texture. And that's important to understand what this product is going to do to the skin before you recommend it to any of your patients or clients, because there will be cellular turnover. And again, depending on the degree, or I should say the percentage of active retinol that you have in what you're recommending, there could even be some topical flaking. Most of the time with retinol, once the skin acclimates, it's microscopic exfoliation that's happening. So benefits, probably the number one benefit is stimulating collagen production at the DEJ, excuse me, which is the dermal epidermal junction. And that's very, very important to understand that retinol has a small molecule. It can penetrate quickly into the skin, deeply into the skin, and that renewal that we're getting for all of the proteins in the skin, collagen, elastin, glucosaminoglycans, that can be stimulated by retinols. We also will be able to improve the appearance of photo damage. Retinol is excellent for damage that has been done by the sun, whether it be the hyperpigmentation, the wrinkles, the uneven skin texture. Very, very effective at treating photo damage. Fine lines and wrinkles, and this can be either environmental or chronological. Improves elasticity as well, and helps to reduce active acne. So when I say that retinol is the go-to ingredient, you can see why. It helps with aging, it helps with fine lines and wrinkles, it helps with the improvement of pigmentation, especially that photo damage from the sun, and it helps to reduce active acne. So when we talk about the chemical family of retinoids, it's important to understand that there are different strengths and how that works in the skin. So the most active and the strongest form, which is retin A, which is retinoic acid. And this is when applied topically to the skin, it's a prescription strength, tretinoin. And it's another name for retinoic acid, tretinoin. So you may hear your physician or your medical professional or even your esthetician talk about tretinoin. That's what retinoic acid is. Because it's a form of retinoic acid, retin A does not need to be broken down by the enzymes in your skin. And we'll explain this, I'll explain this in a little bit more detail, what I mean by that, before you use it. Retin A products are approximately 100 times stronger than the average retinol cream that you get over the counter. So if I go into, let's say, Ulta, Sephora, Target, whatever it might be, and I pick up one of those products that says it has retinol in it, the prescription strength retinol, retinoic acid, tretinoin, 100 times stronger. So it's very, very active. It can be very aggressive on the skin, just depending, again, on what the doctor might prescribe. Now, that sentence that I mentioned where retin A does not need to be broken down by enzymes in your skin to transform into retinoic acid. When we use a non-prescription strength of retinol or retin A, retinoic acid, such as retinaldehyde or retinol or retinol palmitate, those forms of retinol, vitamin A, actually, when you put them on the surface of the skin, they have to be converted into retinoic acid to become active in the skin and to also help to support, again, retinoic acid development, which happens naturally in the skin, and supporting collagen and elastin in the skin. So, excuse me, there's a cycle or transformation that happens when we apply retinol or retinaldehyde or retinol palmitate to the skin. So our next step down from the prescription strength retinoic acid, tretinoin, is retinaldehyde. Retinaldehyde is also known as retinol and is directly converted into retinoic acid by our skin. It converts to retinoic acid 11 times faster than a retinol and is said to be approximately 20 times more potent than retinol. So a lot of people think you go from tretinoin or retinoic acid to retinol, but there's actually that kind of form of it in between the retinaldehyde, which is very, very strong. Then that leads us to retinol, which is probably, I'd say 90–95% of what we as professionals, those of us who are estheticians, medical estheticians, and we sell cosmeceutical strength retinol, OTC form of retinol, what we sell and what we use and recommend to our patients or clients. So retinol is a specific form of vitamin A that is naturally produced in the body, but when it's applied topically, enzymes in your skin convert retinol into retinaldehyde and then into retinoic acid. So again, that's that cycle that it has to go through to actually convert itself. Because of the two-step conversion, it is also has to undergo before the skin can use it. Retinol is naturally gentle, much more gentle than using straight tretinoin or retinaldehyde. And this means, of course, that the results are a little bit slower, but there are fewer side effects. So we don't get the redness of the skin, we don't get the irritation, we don't get the topical flaking on the skin either, usually when you use a retinol or, again, an OTC, over-the-counter strength of retinol. So the only type of retinoid that your skin is able to process immediately is retinoic acid, again, the strongest form. All other forms of retinols have to be converted by skin enzymes into retinoic acid before the skin is able to use it. So it's really kind of important to understand exactly how retinol works. And I will tell you that the use of probiotic along with retinol makes it even more effective in the skin. So I wanted to show you one of our specialty ingredients that we use in our skincare, and it's called GDR, and it's glycerol detinurate. The reason that I've put it in after retinol is because it is a bioavailable form of retinol. So unlike typical retinols, GDR, which is what we call it, the acronym for it, renews the skin without stimulation of the inflammatory pathways, which retinol, any form that we just talked about, does stimulate the inflammatory pathways. It also does not disrupt the skin barrier. It's ultimately low in irritation, it's a bioactive retinoid, and as a byproduct, the reaction of retinoic acid with glycerin, that's what the combination is, it modified molecule adds increased performance and stability without increasing potential irritation to the skin. So what we do with our retinols here at Globiotics is we actually have a pure form of retinol at a lower percentage and then combine it with the glycerol detinurate. This makes for a very aesthetically pleasing and non-irritating retinol. And that's why it works so great hand in hand with probiotics, because that's exactly what probiotics do. They balance the bacteria, good and bad, in the skin, and they are anti-inflammatory ingredients. So Globiotics products that contain GDR help to increase epidermal proliferation, thicken the epidermis. They give you a nice, stronger compaction of the stratum cornea and a denser matrix. Same thing as what we expect from our retinol. This is a great photo. It's an actual cross section of skin that's treated with a 0.3% of the GDR in a 0.1% emulsion. And this is after only 7 days. Talk about creating a more compact stratum corneum. This is an absolutely amazing photo. And we get this directly from our lab who did the clinical trials on the GDR. So in the picture on the left-hand side of your screen, you see a very uneven texture of the stratum corneum and even a kind of broken matrix, if you will, into the pink layers that you're seeing. And then after 7 days with that GDR in that 0.1% emulsion, you can see how the stratum corneum has become more compact, less fissures, how you are getting a much more dense matrix, thus leading to a healthier, more wrinkle-free skin. That leads us to smart peptides. So not only is retinol a significant ingredient that we use within our skincare product, we have 3 different retinol options in our products. We have some exclusive peptides. Now, skincare lines have been talking about peptides for years and years. And the benefit of peptides are we have neuropeptides, which help with that inhibition of the messenger that makes the muscle contract, like our arginine, for example. Smooths the fine lines and wrinkles because of this. And then we have biomimetic peptides. Biomimetic peptides actually help to stimulate collagen and elastin in the skin. So there's many forms of peptides. We actually have exclusivity on 3 peptides that we're going to talk about in just a moment. But basically what a peptide is short chains of amino acids, and they act as building blocks of proteins such as collagen, elastin, and keratin in the skin. And these proteins are the foundation of your skin and are responsible for its texture, its strength, and its resilience. And it's really simplified by this very, very simple graphic that you see on your screen. Amino acids actually create a chain, and that chain then converts to that's a peptide. That amino acid chain becomes a peptide, and then that peptide is able to actually stimulate protein, again, collagen, elastin, keratin. The benefits: we can stimulate collagen production, reduce fine lines and wrinkles, improve elasticity, and it also helps to inhibit the acetylcholine, which releases in that nerve muscle junction. So that's like what I was talking about inhibiting, like arginine that inhibits that repetitive muscle motion. What we're actually inhibiting is the release of that acetylcholine to kind of paralyze, if you will, temporarily, that nerve muscle junction action. So the smart peptides, when we talk about our smart peptides, we have 3 of them that we utilize at Globiotics. The first one is called Smart Peptide 239-240. This is a combination of 2 different octapeptides, and it's a bioengineered specifically to mimic the dermal growth factors that occur naturally in the skin. We don't add growth factors to our skincare products, but this particular peptide helps to actually stimulate the action of our own growth factors within our skin. This activity of naturally circulating growth factors are what's required to maintain and repair the skin and other tissue. Then we have Smart Peptide 189. This is a nanopeptide. This is actually a bioactive peptide that specifically influences the genes which produce an enzyme. That enzyme we were talking about, retinol dehydrogenase, excuse me, which is responsible for converting bioactive retinoids into retinoic acid in the skin. So this peptide is going to actually boost that conversion process that we were talking about with retinol. And again, because of that, we are able to use retinol more safely with less irritation. And finally, we have our Smart Peptide 13, a tetrapeptide. This is an antimicrobial peptide. You'll find this in our acne products. And this actually helps to stimulate the production of an enzyme that is inhibiting to P. acnes bacteria. So it actually helps by breaking down the cell wall of the P. acnes bacteria. So it's, again, very active and really helps to target the condition. So if you look at this graphic and you look at the number 1 where it says Smart Peptide, that little extra chain that you see there of peptides is the myristoyl, and that is what allows it to kind of wiggle its way in a little bit deeper into the skin, and that's what helps to target the particular amino acid chain that has been formed with the particular peptide that one of the 3 I just mentioned, to target the specific skin condition or benefit that we are trying to achieve by adding these peptides to our, again, products. And then that leads us to probiotics, and that's what Globiotics is all about. So we have several slides that I'll talk about regarding probiotics, just to give you a little bit more information about the probiotics. Oh, I see some friends have joined here. Tony from Hall and Rye, so nice to have you here. Wonderful, and welcome. They're an account of ours that use probiotics and they love them. So I love to see some familiar faces on our webinar. So again, let's dive a little deeper into probiotics. So there's a lot of hype in the skincare industry surrounding pre and probiotics and the benefits that these ingredients offer to when they're used topically in skincare. But what really are these bacteria-filled actives, and what is a postbiotic? Because I promise you, over the next couple of years, you're going to be hearing more and more and more about postbiotics. So research has identified an importance of our gut bacteria, and this has led to a vast increase in development of near obsession, actually, with probiotic supplements food and foods. Although oral consumptions of prebiotics and probiotics may prove to be very helpful and healthful, the skin does have its own unique floral and benefit from using targeted skincare. So the probiotics that we take orally or we get through food, like let's say kefir or kombucha or any fermented food that we might be eating, the yogurt, of course, for pre and probiotic. It's very different when you take something orally for gut health and balance than it is for what we use for topically for the skin. So when we look at skin health and probiotics, good probiotics in our gut play a role at recycling and metabolizing hormones in our body. For example, thyroid hormone, estrogen, as well as phytoestrogens. Conditions that are caused by hormonal imbalance can actually affect the skin. And I think a lot of us, when we talk about probiotics for the skin, they think, oh, how can that really help our skin? But it's the condition that is coming from within the body, the inflammatory condition that is causing symptoms on the skin. And that's why if we attack it not only internally, but externally, topically, we are able to get great results. So topical pre, pro, and postbiotics can balance the symptoms from these hormonally induced skin conditions. Here's a couple examples of what I'm talking about. For example, PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome usually is accompanied by very deep cystic acne, an inflammatory condition. Thyroid disease. Oftentimes thyroid, whether it be hyper or hypothyroid conditions, can again cause excessive dryness and sensitivity to the skin. Usually this is caused by inflammation, estrogen depletion, pregnancy, post-pregnancy, and then of course autoimmune disorders. All of these different conditions, and there are many, many more, are triggered by inflammation in the body, and that can show symptoms on the skin. So the good and the bad. I like to kind of mention some of the bacteria that actually find themselves on the surface of the skin and within the microbiome of the skin that we really deal with mostly in our industry. So the first one is, of course, oh gosh, this one's going to kill me today. It's almost Friday. Propionium bacterium. And this one in particular is probably the most common that we find on the surface of the skin. Of course, staphylococci, of course, micrococci, and even corneobacteria. All of these bacteria are capable of reproducing and are common when the skin is healthy. But unfortunately, some of these bacteria can get out of control and can convert and start proliferating, and then we have bad bacteria. So when the skin is compromised, resident bacteria can actually become a pathogen. And that's what you see oftentimes in like acne and folliculitis and some very cystic type conditions. Transient bacteria are contaminants, and they are acquired from the environment. So pollution, smoking, different environments that we might be susceptible to. And these species are incapable of sustained growth under normal skin conditions. So if we can balance the bacteria, both the good and the bad, we will have a healthy, balanced skin. So when we talk about, again, that balance, we call it the beauty bug, our good bacteria, and it has actually been shown to act as a natural protective shield against the bad bacteria, fungi, and viruses. Especially now, this is something that we're all talking about, right? We wash our hands with antibacterial soap. We're using hand sanitizer on a regular basis. This is drying out our hands. How many of us currently have dry, cracked hands from all this hand washing? Yes, we have to do it because of the virus that is currently plaguing us. But unfortunately, we are throwing the microbiome of that area of our body that we're disinfecting consistently out of whack. And that microbiome we're losing all the good bacteria that is balancing us. So when the microbiome is out of balance, the immune system cannot release various antimicrobial peptides that help to balance the skin. And that's why. Again, also why we have those smart peptides in our products. By balancing the microbiome, good bacteria inhabits the release of inflammatory compounds from the immune system, and inflammation is what triggers the proliferation of the bad bugs. So other conditions that we may not think about that actually are triggered by the imbalance of the microbiome: psoriasis, skin allergies, eczema, dermatitis, acne, poor wound healing, skin ulcers, rosacea, and accelerated aging. If we start to break down the good bacteria within the skin, that actually causes degradation of collagen, and that's what actually will start, of course, premature aging. So the power of the beauty bug or the good bacteria, probiotics, right, is basically keeping that microflora of the microbiome in balance. We can strengthen the surface of the skin against environmental threats. We can enhance the skin's ability to become and stay properly hydrated. We diminish factors that trigger sensitized and redness-prone skin, visibly improve signs of dryness, including tightness, uncomfortable feeling, and we restore the healthy pH of balance to the skin surface. And that's really what it's all about. So I just wanted to give you kind of an overview of what pre, pro, and postbiotics are. And this question has already come through, and again, I'll address all the questions at the end of the webinar. Prebiotics, think of them as the fertilizer or the food that encourages essential microorganisms to grow. They are a natural partner of probiotics. They actually to increase the production of the important bacteria that promote skin balance and healthy skin. Probiotics are microorganisms, and they naturally live on the skin surface, creating this protective kind of veil or shield. And that's what we call the skin microbiome. When your skin's microbiome is in balance, it helps to offset factors that can negatively influence the skin, such as things that lead to redness, dryness, and a weakened surface, and more quickly shows signs of aging. And last but not least, postbiotics. Again, what I mentioned that you will be seeing and hearing more and more about. Postbiotics have become a very recent topic of conversation, and they are actually chemical byproducts of bacteria, such as antimicrobial peptides and fragments of dead bacterial cells that remain on the skin. More and more, it should say postbiotics, excuse me, are being used very commonly in skincare, as they do not expire as quickly. They don't have as short of a shelf life, let's say, as probiotics. The lysate that is extracted from a probiotic can be fermented and then formulated into products without having to worry about an expiration of a few days or a few weeks. So there are other probiotic lines out there, of course. One in particular, which I don't like to name names, but has what they say are live probiotic cultures in it. That's fabulous. But the problem is that the skincare products have to be refrigerated, and they have anywhere between a 4-week and 12-week shelf life. That's it. And after that, they need to be thrown away. They're compromised. Whereas the process that we have created to ferment our probiotics gives us a longer shelf life. When you crack open that jar or that tube or that product of Globiotics product, you have a year of shelf life. That product is good and it does not need to be refrigerated. So the challenges in formulating with pre and probiotics, I kind of just jumped ahead, but one complexity is, of course, that each person may have a different need in terms of their skin microflora. A perfect example of this would be, let's say, a menopausal woman or a teenage boy that's active in sports, let's say. Both of them may need the balancing of pre, pro, and postbiotics, but their microflora, their bacteria is balanced and needs balanced very, very differently. So it's important to understand that there is a different, according to the different environments of this bacteria. What's more fascinating is that probiotics and their derivatives, which is again known as lysates, that's that's what creates postbiotics, work beautifully with other skincare ingredients. So as probiotics break down on the skin surface, they actually create this brilliant new ingredient that supports the skin, such as hyaluronic acid, peptides, and vitamins. When we mix those with the probiotics and postbiotics, we actually are getting more benefit from those peptides, vitamins, ceramides, hyaluronic acid. So this in turn leads to diminished signs of aging, better hydration, and a radiant, renewed vitality in the skin. So I again jumped ahead. Do Globiotics products need to be refrigerated? No. So where do we get the probiotic? That's probably the next question that comes out and is probably the most often asked question. What we do is we take live probiotic and from a lactobacillus lactate, we actually extract the enzyme lysate from this live probiotic, and that lysate is fermented. That actually transfers it into a probiotic state. That is what is then used in all of our skincare products. So this is just, again, going to probably go over exactly what I just said, showing you how our probiotics are derived. We call them PDBs, probiotic derived bioactives. And what you'll see here is what I just explained. It's a non-pathogenic, non-living probiotic that metabolizes, and it's derived from that beneficial bacteria strain. It's put through that fermentation process, and that again helps to initiate the skin's immune repair process. So we get much faster, if you will, healing process within the skin, helps with that inflammatory skin conditions that might appear, and they stimulate the action of live bacteria without inflammatory characteristics. Again, a little science here, a different cross-section of skin here. This is the skin, again, after using a 3% probiotic, the probiotics that we use within the skin, and the clinical trial after 1 hour, 2 days, and 4 days. And you can see that's also the cross-section of skin that you're seeing here is after the 4 days of use of the PDBs and the absolute beautiful difference that you see in the structure of the skin there. So as a pioneer in skincare, probiotic skincare, we have a range of skincare products that target specific skin concerns and skin conditions. We work synergistically with the skin to give result-driven performance while respecting skin integrity, which is very important for us. Our formulas harness the power of probiotics working in concert to target bioactive actives to support younger looking skin while bypassing injury. With scientific validation testing, which is very important to us, we actually go to the lab, make sure that everything is tested, and we go beyond the usual testing that is done by most companies. Most companies will perform 1 to 2 testings. We actually perform 4 different testings on our products. One is a cell culture compatibility test, and this determines toxicity of every ingredient and product that we produce. On the MatTech human skin model test, which is actually they model the characteristics of human skin, and then they try the ingredients and products on the skin for accuracy and safety. So we make sure that it's going to do what we say it's going to do. Third-party validation, where we go to an outside third party. They usually have anywhere between 25 and 100 participants. They're given jars and tubes with no labels on them, just instructions on how to use them. And then we get their opinion of the product. And we want to get the validation of if they liked it, if it did what we said it was going to do, etc. And last but not least, DNA microarray assay testing. As we mentioned earlier, each skin cell is different. So that of a menopausal woman and a young teenager going through puberty, we all have different genes. and our genes, some are expressed, some are turned on, some are turned off. Again, it has age and condition and many things to really validate where we're at as far as DNA goes. But by understanding the genes that we express and when exposed to different ingredients and complexes, we have developed a more powerful and innovative and scientific validation solution for common skin concerns. So we go very deep into finding out what works for different skin types. So that will take us then to the Globiotics range. So because we just are discussing the retinols and our targeted skin serums today, that's all we're going to be covering. Of course, for more information on the rest of the line, I will give you the information on how to find out more at the end of our presentation today. And also, I don't want everyone to forget that by signing on today for this webinar, we have a discount code that we're going to give you at the end of the webinar for any orders that you'd like to place. So one last thing before I jump into our retinols is our no-no list. We are 100% committed to clean beauty, and this list continues to grow, and we continue to modify our formulations and remove ingredients that we find are questionable. But currently, we do not formulate with any of the ingredients that you see on the screen currently: parabens, phthalates, sulfates, artificial dyes, dioxane, ethylene glycol, propylene glycol, chemical sunscreens, DEA, TEA, mineral oil, formaldehyde, and synthetic fragrance. And what's not on that list also is synthetic dyes. So let's talk about our 3 retinols that we offer at Globiotics. We have 3 different steps, if you will, into retinol: a beginning stage, a middle stage, and then a more advanced, what we call our ultimate stage. So we're going to go through each of these just briefly. And what I've done is, mind you, there are many more ingredients in these products, but what I wanted to do was show you the actives that we were addressing today that are in each formula. So kind of our starter retinol, either for a teenager with acne or maybe someone with sensitive skin or someone who's never used retinol before, I would recommend our Retinol Anti-Aging Plus Brightening Treatment. This has a bioactive retinol complex in it. It actually has a 1% gram-active retinoid, which is this combination of bioavailable vitamin A, and it's really great at targeting acne as well as UV induced skin damage. We also add a pure 0.25% of retinol or vitamin A into this product. That will help boost collagen, wrinkles, fine lines, but also unclog pores, increase cellular turnover. And then a 0.5% of Syntenol. Syntenol is a natural alternative to retinol. It stimulates collagen, it provides hydration, it helps with aging, rough skin, dryness. It really has many, many benefits, really great at brightening the skin complexion. Also in this product is a complex called Pigment Balancing Complex. It contains a 4% niacinamide along with a 1.5% of synovia. Which again is very great for UV damage induced damage to the skin, and a 2% ActiWhite, which is this wonderful skin lightening and tyrosinase inhibiting ingredient. Then we go to our middle, or our next step up retinol, our advanced retinol renewal. This I recommend for those with more resilient skin, for those who've used retinol in the past. Maybe they want to get off of the prescription tretinoin and get into something more over the counter. This is a very active product. Great ingredients in this. We actually add a 0.3% of pure retinol along with that 0.1% of the glycerol dietinorate. So this combination, we're able to actually use, remember, a lower percentage of pure retinol because we've added that retinol dietinorate, or that GDR as we call it. Again, that really helps with the stimulation of collagen at that dermal epidermal junction. And then when we go into the peptides, remember, we talked about Smart Peptide 189, which is that peptide that again helps with that conversion of the any kind of retinol into retinoic acid. So it actually speeds the conversion process. So we're getting a much better and faster result. And then our final retinol that we offer is our Ultimate Youth Restoring Serum. This is our 3-in-1. This has a little bit of everything. Yes, it has the probiotics like we've been talking about. Yes, it has retinol, but we've also added 2 smart peptides and vitamin C to this. So we have our smart peptide 239-240. That's the one that I told you, remember, stimulates the action of growth factor, our own natural growth factor in our skin. And then the smart retinoid complex that we talked about, that 0.3% and 0.1% of the GDR. And then we have our specialty serums. There are 4 specialty serums that we offer at Globiotics. And we'll talk briefly about each one of these. And each one targets a specific skin condition. Of course, vitamin C is great for what? Hyperpigmentation, brightening uneven skin complexions, getting rid of post-inflammatory pigment as acne starts to heal. Within this particular serum, we have our dual C complex. It's a 10% vitamin C altogether. What we've done is created a dual complex by adding 5% magnesium ascorbyl phosphate and a 5% ascorbyl glucoside. So we have one vitamin C form that's water soluble, the other vitamin C formula that's oil soluble. This allows us better penetration into the skin past the water barrier as well as the lipid barrier. And then we've added the Smart Peptide 189 to this. Again, that wonderful peptide that reverts retinols into retinoic acid in the skin. And then we have our acne clarifying and refining treatment. Obviously, this is for acneic, breakout-prone, oily skin. This includes our Smart Peptide 239, 240. That's the one, remember, that I mentioned to you that actually helps to stimulate growth factors within the skin, but this one actually also has the other peptide in it, the 189, that is our anti-inflammatory, antibacterial peptide, and Simcolmin. So between the 2% salicylic and the peptides, we also want to add anti-inflammatories into the skin for this one. And I noticed that the ingredients here are a little backwards. So also included in that clarifying, excuse me, my slides are a little messed up here. In the clarifying, I know the picture here is of the calming, but in the clarifying, we have a 2% salicylic with glycolic, and then that Smart Peptide 13, not the 189. Excuse me for the confusion here with my slides. And again, this is for acne-prone, breakout-prone skin. It can be used as a spot treatment, or for acne that has oil in combination with it, it can be used all over the skin. So what I thought I would do is mention to you, I think a lot of people currently are having a hard time figuring out how to stay in touch with their clients. And I wanted to give you a couple ideas. I know some of you, some of this might be repeat because you come on to all of our webinars, and I've been talking about this a lot, but I wanted to add a new slide in here for those of you who have not attended. And that is, when you are out of sight, you can be out of mind. And we don't want you to be an out of sight, out of mind service provider. So during this lockdown time that we're all in right now, and most of us got words from our governors yesterday that it's going to be extended now for some of us to the middle of May, some of us till the end of May. We can do things like sending emails and text to our clients, giving them a phone call, just letting them know you're thinking of them, asking them how they're doing physically, mentally, and their skin, of course. But we want to maintain that relationship with those patients and clients. We want our patients to know that we're thinking of them. It doesn't have to be a phone call trying to sell them something. Of course, if it leads into that, that's great for us because you guys need your revenues coming in still. But again, just touch base with them so that they're ready to come back and see you as soon as we're ready to open. Also, offer an incentive for when you guys reopen. Offer an incentive. Say that you're going to have a special event, or offer them a little discount, you know, to come back to you and get a peel or get a professional treatment, a laser treatment done or something. But also, how can you continue to sell retail to your clients when they're probably running out of their products by now? If you're not opening your facility for a pickup of product, Globiotics will now offer you a drop shipping option. So we will do all of the work for you. It's very, very easy. The patient places a product order with you and they make their payment with you as normal. If you are working from home and don't have a payment method, tell them they can Venmo you or Zello or Zella, I think it is. There's so many options. Or if you have the Square on your Apple phone, you can use that. It's very easy to take payments from home. You submit the order via email from your patient, or you can call our customer service line to Globiotics. We then will pack and ship the order directly to your patient's or client's home. There's no middleman here. It's very nice and very convenient for you. We will invoice you, so you get your invoice so you know that you've made this sale. And there's no minimum order required. So of course, if you have a client and they just are out of their cleanser and you don't have the ability to get them their cleanser from your office or your spa or your facility, you can actually just have us do it for you. And orders over $50 are free shipping. So your client may really find that convenient. How do I promote this drop shipping? So if clients or patients know that your office is closed, how will they know to contact you for products? Mention a free product delivery service on your out of office email reply if you're getting emails from your patients or clients. Mention the free product delivery on your out of office voicemail. Add that to your voicemail. Again, if you're already sending texts to your patients and clients, if that's a way you communicate, send them a text, let them know. Check-in calls or video consultations. This is a great way to stay in touch with your patients and clients, because I will tell you the stress from what's been going on in the world right now, it's affecting people's skin and their health, you know, obviously. So talk to them about a video consult. Add direct shipping orders instructions to your website. And also promote the service on social media. If you're doing social media to promote your physician, your office or your spa, use that as a reminder. How do you submit your order? You can either go to cs@globiotics.com and send an email. All you need to email is your patient's name, their address, the products that they've ordered from you. If you would like samples sent to them, let us know which ones. And if there's a gift with purchase item that you're offering, for example, if you want to offer them a 10% off or whatever you want, that's up to you because you're the one who's charging them. Just let us know so that we know what to add into the package for them. Also, there is a dropship form on our website that you can go to, globiotics.com/drop, and you'll get the form on how to fill this all out. So today's the last day of April. I wanted to just show you our promotion. It's 25% off our Soothing Essential Home Treatment Kit. That's a wonderful deal. It has everything you need in it for redness prone, irritated skin. It's a great way to start your patients and clients out with this. Also, I wanted to invite everyone to join us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, Twitter. We have wonderful hashtags that we use, and all of these webinars that you've all been attending through the month of April, and now I'm going to be doing them through the month of May. I have recorded them and they will be on YouTube. This is our YouTube channel link. You can either screenshot this right now, take a picture of it if your phone is nearby, or email me and I'll send you the link. My email is education@globiotics.com, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have at any time regarding our products and our ingredients and protocols and regimens. So I want to thank everyone for attending today. I'm going to give you the promo code and then I'm going to answer some questions that have come through. So you will receive 10% off of any order that you place today. The code is GLOW, G-L-O-W 430. You cannot use that code online if you place an order online. You have to actually call 877-423-1314. That's our 800 number, or email Tim at cs@globiotics.com. So again, that's the way that you can use your promotion order. And again, when you email Tim your order, he can also give you the YouTube link to watch the webinars. So I want to thank everyone for attending today, and I'm going to attempt to answer some of these questions here. Let me grab my glasses, and we will start with, What do prebiotics do for the skin? So again, I think I probably answered this question in the webinar, but prebiotics are actually the food for the probiotics. So those prebiotics actually help to feed the good bacteria and keep the skin in balance. At what age do you start your patients on retinoids? This is a great question. And again, because I recommend retinol as that universal ingredient, for teenagers with acne, I would say probably I would start them no younger than about 15 or 16, and probably minimal, dependent on what they're doing in their lifestyle as well. If I have a young gentleman who's, 15 or 16, and he's let's say playing football, and his face is under a football helmet, and he's doing practice, and he's sweating, and he's perspiring, probably maybe twice a week at nighttime. Obviously, retinol should always only be used at night, and then he could build up to it, of course. But again, it's just very dependent on the patient and the client and the resiliency of that patient or client's skin. Let's see here. I have another question that says, all of your bottles say 6 months are good. Are they good for 12 months? So yes, they are actually. When you when you order products, let's say, if you do not open them, you've got a 2-year shelf life. But from the moment that you crack them open and air starts to hit them, you will have about a 12-month shelf life on those products. Now, 6 months, for me, it would be something like our, something that might oxidize and change color. But because we use airless pumps on our vitamin C and our retinols and things like that, you don't have to worry about the air affecting these products. And the probiotics will stay active because of the fermentation process. So definitely 12-month shelf life on the products. Let's see here. The promo code, does the promo code also apply to drop shipping orders? If they mention the webinar code when they place the direct shipment order, they can extend the promo to patients if they wish. Yes, that's true. So remember, if you as the professional want to extend that 10% off that you're getting for placing an order, you can actually pass that 10% on to your client or patient. It's a great little incentive actually to get them to purchase from you and maybe build your sale a little bit. So yes, and thank you for that reminder. Tim, our sales director, is on watching the webinar as well, and he's the one that I put you in touch with that email, cs@globiotics.com. So if there are no other questions, which it doesn't seem like there are any more coming through, I want to thank everyone for attending today. And once again, this webinar was recorded and it will be up on our YouTube page within 24 hours. Thank you all for attending. And I look forward to attending our future webinars. We have one scheduled once a week through the month of May. And everyone stay healthy.